Welcome to the Collecting Keys Friday Focus.
What's going on, guys? On this episode of the Collecting Keys Friday Focus, I wanted to dive into a topic that we touched about a little bit on Wednesday. If you listened to this past Wednesday's episode in a little bit of a comedic fashion. So if you listened to this past Wednesday's episode, you heard Dan and I talk about flow state and like sort of mindset around working and productivity. And you also heard us, I guess, make fun of a lot of the things that people really dive into revolving that, especially around, people that we always drives us crazy in like the entrepreneurship space. So many people, they get super into like the small, like mindset sort of things that aren't actually productive. And you see this across all levels of entrepreneurs where even when they are not fully established yet, they aren't really, making waves or anything yet. Instead of going and actually getting to work and figuring that out, they spend all their time doing things like going to the sauna or doing like thought journals or meditating and those things, which are great. Don't get me wrong. But, if it fully detracts from you getting to work and getting stuff done, they're not effective. Like, if you do not have a successful business, you're not already rich and you actually have to put in the work. I'm sorry, but waking up at 4 a.m. and dinking around, do a bunch of stuff until noon, to like sort of check off the list that you got from some like mindset coach is not going to get you to the next level. So we joked about that, all of it's in jest. If you are one of those people, you do your thing. I really don't mind either way. It's just not for me. But something that I did want to go through is what exactly my morning routine looks like, because that, even though I'm not into a lot of the, more spiritual sort of things people do, believe it or not, I do have a routine and people do regularly ask about what I do. So I would just figure I would just go through my whole day. I don't have like a super crazy like morning routine or anything super special, but I've gotten this question on like several other podcasts about what routines and habits I have that allow me to be successful. And I think the main thing is I have a disciplined sort of consistent daily routine, and it sets my body up to sort of be most productive around when my energy levels are the highest. So I was going to dive into that. Anyway, so typical working day for me, I wake up between 6 and 6:30. I don't have a hard get up time. I go to bed at the same time every night, which is usually about 10:30, 10:45. And my body naturally wakes up between 6 and 6:30. That's when I get up. So basically when my body sort of wakes up, that's when I get up. Sometimes it is a little bit later, sometimes a little bit earlier. I think the main thing is I'm not waking up with an alarm and I am not playing the snooze button game or like sleeping in. So when my body wakes up, I get up as well. And I find that to be very, very important for having a good morning. So after I wake up, feed my dog, I grab a cup of coffee, and then I usually spend about the next 2-ish hours or so working on kind of my creative and planning work. So this is stuff that requires me to be thinking kind of outside the box or putting together processes and, different sort of components and systems to the business that require a lot of mental bandwidth. Sorry, you might hear my dog there in the background. But I find that I have 2 periods of the day where that style of work I'm most effective. And that is early in the morning and late at night. And why it's so separated, I have no idea. Maybe it's because I know I have no other distractions, but I really try to focus on having that creative and planning style of work in those periods of time. So like what that work usually consists of is like researching new marketing methods that we're going to try, or like optimizing our new CRM that we have for our instant investor partnership programs that you see. If you go to collectingkeyspodcast.com/store, you can see our different marketing programs that we're sort of building out to work with other investors on. So I've been working on building a CRM for those sort of things. And I found that if I do that when I'm in a low energy state, I'm not productive. So I save that for the early morning and late at night when I'm finding the best of the creative work. So I usually do that for about 2 hours until 8:30 every morning, Monday through Friday at 8:30 in the morning. I kick off my sales team. We have a big group meeting. I have a fully remote business, so everybody comes and hops on the call. We check in, we talk about deals, come up with strategy for the day, all that sort of stuff. And that's like a good time for everyone to sort of unite and come together and have a good conversation. Then from that point, that's usually what wakes me up, I guess, a little bit socially. I am naturally an introverted person, so my social energy does vary a lot, but I do find that once I've kickstarted the social component of like my energy levels, it's easier for me to keep writing that. So normally what I do is after the sales meeting, if I have any more meetings for the day, I like to structure them through the rest of the morning, even if that means that I have meetings from like 8:30 all the way until lunchtime. Like that just is my preferred way to run my meetings, is to crunch them all into one big block. So then that way, when I don't have to go in and out of like the social mindset so many times, which I find to be very challenging. So I'll try to have my meetings up through that period of time. There's always different meetings that, are coming up on a daily basis. So I usually have something. If I don't have any specific scheduled meetings for the day, then that period in the morning is when I will make phone calls that I have to make, whether that's to lenders, for certain things, or that is like different networking phone calls, or I have to like call vendors to pay bills, whatever that is. I try to do all that stuff in the morning, because in the afternoon, I just find it's much, much harder for me to dial in numbers and click go, because I'm not in that energy state. So at lunchtime, pretty much every day, I will go and I will hit a workout. That's usually some kind of strength training. And when I say usually, I mean every day is some form of strength training mixed in with usually 3 days a week, some kind of cardio, which is like a CrossFit style workout, like, sort of like moderate intensity. It'll have some intervals, stuff like that. So it's like I have a coach that I work with that does all of my programming. I used to compete in strength and fitness sports for a long time. So I like to have a disciplined, structured program that is unique to me. That is what I found I was most successful doing when I was training at a competitive level. And that's what I continue to do now. It's just at a different scale than what it was back then. So, I'll have a weightlifting program that is, I use like upper body and lower body split that I do for 4 days out of the week. And then my Wednesdays are usually like a cardio and a movement and like general, I guess like light weightlifting sort of day. Whereas like the other days, I will usually have a strength piece and some weightlifting pieces, and then also some sort of workout, some sort of like interval workout in there. So I do that pretty much every day. After that, I eat lunch. Lunch usually consists of some kind of meal prep that I've done, that I did over the weekend. I do meal prep every weekend. It's something that I got into the habit of doing. Actually, a number of years ago when I was competing and I was just really disciplined with my macros. And even though now I don't weigh and measure all my food anymore, I still do the meal prep, because it does make life significantly easier during the week. And it's much easier to eat healthy versus like, taking grab and go stuff, or ordering takeout, or going to lunch and all those sort of things. So I have lunch. After that, I jump back into my work and I do what like I call like my must do's for the day. So these are usually things like reviewing leads that our sales guys are working, if there's any comments that have come up. This can be responding to emails. This can be any sort of like, I guess like busy work sort of stuff, finance, bookkeeping, ordering, marketing, like all those sort of things that are kind of like the repeatable tasks that aren't super creative and difficult in nature. I will do most of those in the afternoon after I eat lunch. I have an ongoing list of those things every single day. I will usually work on that stuff until about 5 or 6. At 5 or 6 o'clock, I quit working. I take a break. I cook dinner with my wife. We eat dinner together. We try to do that every single night. For us to not eat dinner together takes some sort of extreme situation. So we're always doing that. I do most of the cooking. I love to cook. I found that cooking is one of the few things that I do every single day that's not on a screen. So I really use that as, I guess, another form of meditation for myself. After dinner, I typically go back to work. I know that some people are really big into having like a hard stop time. Me not having kids, I really do enjoy what I do. And so like I don't have like this extreme need to be fully present with my family, me and my wife. We spend a lot of time together in general, just it being us. So after dinner, she'll like go and draw. She's an artist. She'll do some artwork stuff. She'll hang out with the dog. She does things. And I'll usually go back to work. And I have found that after dinner time is my second period of time where I am fully functional. And I get really into my creative and planning sort of work, just like I do in the mornings. So this, I will usually dive more into the stuff I was working on in the mornings, or those sort of projects that require me to be thinking outside the box and fully engaged. So I'll do those in the evening at about 9 o'clock. I guess I'll say sometimes too with the creative, I'm not feeling it. I'm super worn out. I'm super tired from the week. I will skip my afternoon working session and I will do something else, whether that's like playing PlayStation, watching a movie, working on, me and my wife like to do puzzles. That's kind of our new thing. Read a book, like whatever it is that strikes my fancy. I'll do those things in the afternoon if I'm not feeling the work, just because of my energy levels being off. But 9 o'clock every day kind of keeps us pretty strict. I call it quits from work. That's usually about an hour and a half before I go to bed. And I like to unwind before I go to bed. So at that point in time, me and my wife, we will watch a show together. We'll always like to watch something on Netflix or HBO or whatever's going on, super wide range of shows. It's always, I guess, fictional sort of stuff that we like. We like all sorts of series. We do that every night. And that's kind of one of the main times that we spend time together. After that, I have tried to be pretty strict about being in bed by, 10:15, and then going to sleep shortly after that. And that's what, allows me to get a full night's sleep before waking up again at 6 or 6:30 in the morning. So that's my routine for you. I do that pretty much every day, Monday through Friday at least. I do that a lot of weekends as well, unless we're doing something that's out of the ordinary. Saturdays, I usually try to make my pretty firm day off where we'll go hiking or skiing or hang out with friends, things like that. But a lot of my Sundays, they look to be exactly the same, with the exception just being the start time, if we had a big night out and we got home kind of later, things like that. But that is not always the case. So anyways, you guys, that is a look into my daily routine. There's nothing fancy. I don't do hot, cold baths. I don't write journals. I don't meditate, any of that sort of stuff. I have just structured my day around when my energy levels are at the best and what works for me. And the main things that I am disciplined about are, my sleep time, my wake up time, hitting my workout every day. And honestly, that's it. And the rest of it, I just try to adjust the best that I can around what I know feels right for me at those different times of day with my circadian rhythm. So anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that and you got some sort of value from it. And if you wouldn't mind, just letting me know what you think. I would be curious if anyone else has any sort of morning routine thoughts or things like that. But you can follow me on Instagram and you can let me know what you think there at Mike_invests. Aside from that, please go and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Like I said on the show this week, we are currently at the time of this recording, 25 5-star reviews until we get up to 50. So basically the next 25 reviews, if you go leave me a 5-star review and send it to me on my Instagram at Mike_invest, I will send you a free Collecting Keys podcast t-shirt, which are pretty sick shirts. Go check them out on our YouTube. They're super nice, tri-blend, high quality shirts. And I would be happy to send you one of those. Aside from that, you guys, if you want to start generating off-market leads, just like Dan and I do every single week, you can go to collectingkeyspodcast.com/guide, and you can get our 5-step guide to start generating off-market leads, and that'll be able to get you started in just a couple weeks. It's a pretty simple step-by-step process. Well, thanks so much for listening, everybody, and talk to you next week.
Thanks for listening to this Collecting Keys Friday Focus. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts.